Hello and welcome everybody to the North American Go4GuldWars 2 Cup number 47. I am Storm, and back with me as always is Heurix. How are you doing this afternoon?
Really good, man. Really good indeed. Looks like we got a couple of subs happening on a couple of these teams here today, but we do have a lot of great teams coming out. Of course, as always, we do have the Abjured as well as Spoookie here. We do have Radioactive with a couple of subs, as well as having a Mental Asylum team faded in 5 guys, 1 cup actually competing for
Yeah.
this Miss Cup here.
Yeah, our first matchup is Team Faded, who was just couldn't finish. They changed their name over to Team Faded now, up against Mental Asylum. Mental Asylum is a team name I haven't seen up in at least half a year in an ESL Cup. I believe that it consists of Foxable along with Paw Paw and a couple of their buddies. So excited to see them back in the ESL today, taking on a very, very strong Team Faded that we saw take out Radioactive in last week's ESL third place match. So this should be a pretty good matchup we got going along here. Don't think we have much else to say aside from, as always, these guys are competing for $500, 400 to first, 100 to second place, as well as gems, to first, second, third, and I don't know. Fourth place get gems. I think they do now, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm pretty sure that is the case.
I think they do now. So yeah, so top four will be receiving something for this tournament. Other than that, we don't really have anything else to go over at this current point in time. So let's go ahead and get into this game number one, where we have both teams joined up over here on the red Team Faded and over on the blue Team Mental Asylum.
All right, looking over here at the red team first. First one we're going to be seeing here is Karina playing on the Catfish hotline. Going to be running the same build he always runs. That's going to be Staff, Dagger, Warhorn with Rune of Strength and Celestial Amulet. Going to be picking up that triple Signet build there. Running Spite, Curses. Ooh, dropped out there.
And
but
left.
Same build as always there. That last one is
is
indeed going to be Soul Reaping, of course. The next one we're going to be seeing is Stal, actually Stalactite here. Going to be playing Kaze Stal, and he's going to be playing Dagger Elementalist as usual here, with Rune of Strength and Celestial Amulet, of course, being Arcane, Water, and Fire. Next up, we do have Ulrun representing his new team here, Team Faded, actually, as this is going to be a roster adjustment. He actually did leave Radioactive for Team Faded, actually, after, I believe, losing.
I'm not exactly sure on the standpoint on that, leaving that roster. But, both teams still, obviously, playing Radioactive still going to be in the tournament today. They're just picking up a new fifth. But, we'll have to see how Ulrun fares with this team.
We want salt. All right, we got Rune of Strength and Celestial Amulet here. Going to be picking up Water, Fire, and Arcane, of course. As always, next we do have Amon. He's going to be playing Thief here. Usual build as well, Dagger Pistol. Going to be taking up Rune of Vampirism, actually, which I don't think is allowed.
Nope.
Yeah,
no,
so he's actually going to have he's going to have to switch that, as there is still some issues with the Vampirins. Unfortunately, it's still you're still able to use these the profession skills, the F1, 2, 3, 4. So he's going to be able to use things like Steel and some of his bundles actually while Vampirin. So unfortunately, that is the case. Once that fixes, we'll be able to unban them once again. But for now, he is going to have to make an adjustment there. But taking up Marauder Amulet, going to be going with Deadly Arts, Shadow Arts, and Trickery for his build. I imagine he will swap to something like Pack Runes. And there he goes, does indeed switch to Pack Rune. Last but definitely not least, we do have Faded Bear. That's going to be Bear here, aka Just Barely, as Storm likes to call him. He's going to be picking up Longbow and Greatsword, running Rune of the Pack with Berserker Amulet. Going to be taking up Wilderness Survival, Nature Magic, and Beast Mastery. Typical spec for him as well. Looks pretty cut and dry on the side of red team over here, actually. Not anything too crazy, of course, other than the lack of Vampirunes as of late, but due to the banning.
And I think that's really going to affect Amon the most. I mean, that's something that these really rely on. You get into the midst of a fight, you get blown up, those are going to save your life. I mean, you have cooldowns, but you kind of rely on that a lot of the time. So this is going to be really tough for Thieves today. We'll have to see how how it works out for them. But it's going to give them a little bit more offensive pressure, I think. But that defensive, that misform, that's really going to hurt them not having it. But we'll have to see how it works out for him. But taking a look over at the side of Mental Asylum, first up we got Max, who's going to be playing the Mesmer for today, running with that Sword Torch and the Great Sword with Pack Runes, Marauder Amulet. He's going to be taking Chaos, Dueling, and Domination for himself, running PU along with that Mass Invisibility. McFoxywag, that is Foxable. He's going to be running Dagger Pistol with the Short Bow, Pack Runes, Marauder Amulet running Deadly Arts, Shadow Arts, and Trickery. Nothing special coming out from him. Pawpaw running the Engineer for this team with that Rifle, Soldier Amulet running with Hullbreak Runes. Going to be taking Explosives, Tools, and Alchemy for himself. along with that Elixir B and Slick Shoes. A little bit of a different setup there, but nothing we're not too surprised about. Nick playing the DDLE for this team with the Holbeck Rune, Stella Amulet running Fire, Water, and Arcane. And finally, Sublime going to be the Guardian for this team. I haven't seen Sublime in a while in the tournament. Pretty solid Guardian. Excited to see him play with Mental Asylum today. He's going to be running Support Guardian. Looks like with the Mace Shield. Interesting enough, running a Hammer over the Staff. Very interesting, especially since he's running 4 shouts, support build. That's an odd pick in my opinion. With that
definitely
Cleric's
looking
Amulet.
for some personal sustain and trying to get some point control. I mean, that's definitely what the Hammer's about. He's trying to,
for sure,
summon up his inner Quilja and get some point control with that Hammer there. Of course, is what the idea is. Not really sure. I'm kind of with you on that one. The Staff definitely does kind of cater more towards the build, especially with that Cleric Amulet and all the shots. But I think he feels like he's going to be getting enough healing through Receive the Light as well as Selfless Daring, which I mean is pretty much the case. He's definitely going to get a lot of healing through those 2 things there, as well as the regen coming out from that Symbol of Faith and a lot of the other sources, and of course the Mace skills or the Mace auto attack as well. So I mean, like, he definitely still has a lot of support with this build. Shouts, of course, the big healing, but definitely kind of strange to see the Hammer.
He's got a lot of CC for this now, a little bit more than the Staff provides. That line of warning is also obviously pretty nice, but a little bit less support. No might stacking and healing coming out from the Hammer like you can on that Staff. So he's, like I said, he's running with the Cleric's Amulet, Soldier Runes. He's going to be taking Valor, Honor, and Virtues, of course, as well, with 4 shouts and Renewed Focus. I like the Renewed Focus. I feel like you need to either take that or Shelter, but he's going to be going with the RF, along with Receive the Light, which I like. That's going to give him a little bit more healing that he's kind of lacks without that Staff, but I do like interesting build nonetheless. I mean, interesting in saying that he's taking the Hammer, but we'll have to see how it works out for him. I mean, Banish plays. He's not going to be able to get a JI Banish stop, obviously, because this isn't a Mediguard, but it can create for an exciting team fight. So we'll have to see how it works out. But just waiting on these guys to ready up. What are your thoughts on this one here? Who do you think is going to be taking this set for us?
I think we're going to be seeing Team Fate. I mean, this is... They've proved themselves, and I mean, they also picked up Allrun as well. Definitely a solid player playing for Radioactive for quite some time, definitely the past couple of months. Definitely, I mean, Radioactive has been pretty good for about, I would say, probably 2 to 3 months at this stage, all of which Allrun has been a part of. So this is kind of like the first time that they're going to be playing without Allrun. I mean, finding out if they can hold on without him, if he's actually that big of a factor. And I mean, Team Fated already a strong roster, proving themselves already going to have that experience in the form of Allrun as well. So I think that Red Team has the upper hand on this.
I'm saying the same. They have come such a long ways over the past few months. This Team Fated. But take a look at the opening splits for both these teams in game number 1 of this best of 3 series. A little bit of a late coming out of the gate there for Pawpaw, but 4 crossing for Mental Asylum. We are going to see Allrun go to that henge point. SR coming out there for Mick. Foxy Wag is going to be pushing 3 members of his team, along with Sublime. He's going to be trying to put out some support, and the damage coming out from Max and Foxbull here. Going to probably try and spike down Karina here. Karina able to get the full cap, but already down to about 50% HP. Pops the Plague. Going to get support coming back for his team, but that was a pretty good burst play, I must say.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Catfish Online right now, sorry, Catfish Hotline here. Karina is, doing a good job staying alive, but Foxy right now is going to drop into the downstate as Amon actually just came in and just blew him up. So now Foxy does have to deal with that. Looks like Faded Bear going to be adding some DPS to it. So Karina holding on to this mine cap here. Looks like he's going to be pulling off, and they're going to move the fight over towards this key point, where already Blue actually has a little bit of that point control. Stalacta, though, doing a great job in this 1v1 as Pawpaw is forced off a little bit. We might see a little bit of a stealth engage here, actually, from the Blue side.
Yeah, that was a pretty good hold on both teams. But now we're going to have a big 2v2 over at the henge point, and this 3v3 going on at the midpoint. A lot of damage coming out onto Paw, who seems to be the main target. Already popping Elixir S for himself. Doesn't have a whole lot left out of this for his Elixir, and I mean, his Elixir X if he wants to use it, but he's so low in health, there's no reason for him to. A lot of damage coming out onto Faded Bear. Bear now under a lot of pressure and uses Entangle, but not going to hit anybody with it, it doesn't look like. Actually hit Max, if I'm not mistaken there. Pawpaw actually being taken into the downstate. That's a pretty good pickup, but we might see a decap. Actually, the decap did come out there from Voxable. Pretty good rotations from Blue, but Red Team winning all the fights.
Yeah, we're actually going to be seeing Bear falling back over here towards the mine point, going to get that recap. They still do have that 50-0 lead right now, holding them off at keep for quite some time. Doesn't look like Sublime's able to do much with that hammer, though, as he's right now at about 80% health. He's going to be pretty healthy, though. His teammate is going to roll in here. They're going to +2 that one right now, and they're going to try to get some damage on Style, but Style's still doing just such a good job of maintaining some point control here. You know, not giving anything up to Sublime despite that hammer pickup, and it's actually Sublime in the downstate over here between Keep and Mine. He looks like Olren's going to cleave him out. I mean, they still do have this 2-cap
I mean, they're getting the
advantage
decaps
right now.
They're going to get the decaps on the side, the blue team, that is. I mean, they have done a great job of rotating, especially coming out from Foxbowl. Really nice decaps, but they're going to be down 100 points here. They haven't got a single kill, haven't got a single cap. It's just been pure rotations for them, and you can't win if you don't obviously do anything winning fights or anything like that. So it's really unfortunate on that end for them. Over here at the mine, though, Papa about to be taken down. Has his heal. Is he going to get it off? Looks like he got interrupted, barely got it off, and now Karina is on top of him. I think he's going to be taken out.
Yeah, for sure. Looks like Olren going to go for that stomp. That's definitely going to be secured there. Looks like he's going to be staying here for that full cap. They're going to be getting that 2-cap advantage back, and they're going to push the fight probably back on over towards that hinge node. Actually, Foxy Slag going to be trying for that decap. Probably going to get it before Karina's going to be able to do anything about that. But look, I can probably suggest that Foxy is going to be moving up. Actually, we are going to be seeing a portal coming out from this blue team. The blue team actually going all over Karina right now, blowing him up a little bit, but Karina taking a lot of that pretty easily. It looks like he's still at about 90%, taking a lot of that heat, goes into Plague Form, and Olren right now is in a position where he can support. So this is looking pretty good for Red Team.
Yeah,
that was a great job.
That was a good job from Karina. I mean, obviously the Shroud going to help him stay alive for quite a while there. And then as soon as he got out of Shroud, he almost instantly went into Plague and really didn't need to because he had the support, but regardless, was playing it safe. There's another decap possibly coming out from Foxbowl. Still, they were able to get that cap in the hand, put up some points. Now they're trying to get back into this one. If they can keep up these rotations and actually win a few fights, they might be able to do something about it. But over at the hand, Sublime is actually taking down Papa coming in for the res. The stomp actually comes out there from Amon. Now Paz is going to be in a 1v2 situation. He's going to go down rather quickly. Going to get Tornado from that Elixir X. Not really going to help him for the time being. We'll have to see if Fox is able to come and plus this fight and help him out.
Team wins a capture point.
Yeah, it looks like Style trying to hold her on right now versus 2 members of this blue team right here, both Foxy and Maxwell. Actually 3 members, as Nick is on the point as well.
That's a pretty good stomp, or a pretty good kill coming out there, but the support is coming in from Olren. Is Olren able to get the res? That is the real question. Oh, Olren pops a stab, not able to get that res. Nice stomp coming out there from this blue team. Despite that, they are being 3-capped right now, as they did manage to get the full cap over the hands before rotation came out from Fox. And the respawns coming out there for the rest of the blue team, that would be Papa and Sublime, who actually died over there. Able to get the decap at the midpoint. They're down a hefty amount right here. What do you think this red team has to do, or blue, excuse me, to get back into this one?
Yeah, Papa actually got res back up. He almost got taken out, but his teammate was actually coming off a respawn, got him back up. So he's back in it, and you know, because they weren't able to finish him off, he's now the one finishing off these members of these red teams. So if they can turn this fight, I mean, they have a 2-man advantage right here on this map, and it looks like if Sublime can manage to hold this node versus Style and maybe even cap it. I mean, he has that hammer for a reason. He has the shield knockback for a reason. There's no reason why he can't get that. He should be able to get that full cap and control that node. Papa's going to be able to rotate over, help out Nick, help out Foxy here, and if they can eliminate Olren, right, as it looks like they might be able to do, they're going to get full control of this keep, and that is going to be the case as they do actually cap it out, it looks like, as well as the hinge. So they're going to be able to hold on to these 2-cap, or this 2-cap right here. I would say they want to try to get as much control of these 2 nodes as possible and try to take one more team fight before getting a decap over there onto the mine, and then try to basically hold those 2 for as long as possible.
They might get the decap. Once you go away, they do get the decap. That was a pretty big pickup there. Despite that, they lost the fight over at the hinge. If they can clean up Bear over here at the mine point in this 2v1 situation, Bear should be able to use the terrain to his advantage, though, and try and keep this decap for the time being. But red team getting that hinge. Blue team also got decapped at the midpoint. Taking a look at it, is only Fox sitting in the area. Paz going to plus this fight. I think they rotated out of that one a little wonk. I mean, kind of a bad way, to be honest. Not exactly sure why Nick had left that mid fight. They really needed him there because the respawns, or excuse me, the rotations coming out from the red team got them that decap. Despite that, blue team's barely hanging on here. Olren actually taken down at the midpoint. Will the stop coming out there from Papa, able to pick up.
Yeah, Papa actually getting that double elixir. That's barely getting him up there, actually. And it looks like he's going to drop into downstate. Foxy definitely going to get that res, though. Green the only one left on this point to trying to control this here. And he's done a good job so far, so I expect him to last pretty long, especially with Papa forced to kind of play very defensively here. Plague does come out, so Korea's going to do a good job of holding that one off there. Blue team actually doing the same thing over on the mine node, holding off that fronted assault there from Amon as well as Bear. Looks like they're going to turn that one back around and try to get something going as well. Looks like Ulrun going to come in for that revenge now on to keep trying to get some support for Karina here. Looks like he does get a couple of heals off for him and does a great job of keeping him alive. Now he has to focus on that pressure though, and that's going to be looking towards Papa actually, as he's at about 75% HP, looking to still put down pressure onto Karina. And if he keeps playing it very offensively like this, he's going to be in a really rough position going forward.
Yeah, he is going to try and get out of this one. Saw Ulrun going that way. He's just going to go back the other way. I think Blue Team really needs to focus on the side points right here, but Pa's got to make it out of here alive. He's still got Bear on top, and Max probably going to come in and try and maybe get a massive Viz. We'll have to see. He's trying to put some damage down onto these guys, but Pa, oh, nice knockback there. He is going to be taken out by Amon, who's came in with that steal, so that should be a secured stomp for Ulrun there. Despite that, the decap actually came out there over at the Henge node. That's a pretty good pickup, but they have to win this fight. Sublime and Fox, they're not looking like they're going to, because still 100% HP for Selecta and Karina over here at the Henge.
Yeah, I can't really help but notice that this blue team just kind of a little disorganized, you know, definitely not really hitting their rotations as they were maybe even in the beginning, which was even still a little sloppy, honestly, a little sloppy. And because of that, they're just falling apart in some of these team fights here. You can see Maxlin in the downstate, Nick actually getting chased right now by two members, both Bear and Amon, who, you know, both of them doing a good job of doing up and just basically acting as if they were Thief and Mesmer, just running around and just assassinating anybody in front of them. Amon going to go for that decap as well as the full cap. Actually, Bear going to be holding on to that key
just
point.
Barely. We saw that because no pun on that one. Nick threw out the MO, but he caught it just in the nick of time on the point there. Now it's going to be a little bit of a 2v2 going on at the midpoint. Fox trying to get on top of Bear. We do see that full cap from Amon over there at the mine point. It's going to be a nice pickup to hold that 2 cap once again and continue to build this massive lead that they've started to have now. And the Max coming off a respawn should be able to get the decap at the Henge. Despite that, I think we're going to see Red Team clean up this fight here at the midpoint, at least force him out, as we already see Fox leaving this fight. And I don't see Nick holding on too long here. I think this game number 1 is undoubtedly going to seem faded. I think Mental Asylum really has to adjust their entire strategy. And like you said, they kind of felt like they weren't really as one that entire game.
Yeah, definitely kind of disheveled, a little bit disorganized, you know. Not really feeling like they're really kind of playing as like one cohesive unit. And that's kind of their problem right now. Kind of playing around. You kind of see people doing a little bit of different stuff, you know. They have basically Maxlin right now cut off from the rest of the team here. You can see on the right side of your screen here on the map, actually, Maxlin in a 1v2 forced himself into this position. Looks like Foxy's going to be pulling back, trying to get some support for him. But still, I mean, Maxlin right now at about 40% HP. It looks like they're forcing a really small distance portal, which unfortunately for them is going to be setting them up for some failure, actually. Which, I mean, like, if they were in a position where they could actually turn this... Oh, actually, Amon going into downstate. They're going to get him back up, though, because he is in stealth. Looks like Maxlin going to be dropping here, though. I mean, when you put yourself in this position where you're cut off from the rest of your team, you're pushed very, very aggressively into that far point, especially in those 1v2 scenarios. You're just asking for trouble, especially when you have that that portal not really set up for a return.
And what we see with a lot of teams, especially, I mean, to where Mental Asylum is, they're not really, I mean, it's not like they're a practice team that plays all the time. I think it's just a group of buddies who are taking on an old name. But for the most part, something that we see is, like, when they start to lose these fights, everybody stops doing things as a team, and they kind of just do their own thing because they think it might work out for them. That's kind of what we've seen from Mental Asylum. And while they have been getting decaps, they really haven't been winning any fights whatsoever. It might benefit them rotation-wise, but as a whole, in the end, it's really going to favor the other team.
Yeah, and you know, going forward, this red team needs to also be wary because a lot of times they're actually over-rotating, and because of that, they're getting decapped all the time. And it's not really because the blue team's actually doing a whole lot, you know, really, really intelligently. It's just that red team is just kind of pulling off when they don't necessarily need to be doing that. I mean, we saw actually Ulrun come over and make that fight over on the mine point a 3v2 when they already had the advantage with Maxlin at about 50% HP. I mean, granted, you have Amon, who does not have the same survivability without the vampires and runes, but you know, they still had the advantage. He didn't need to rotate. He could have held onto that midpoint, and they could be winning right now. I mean, granted, they're going to win regardless, But those are the kind of things you need to be aware of going up against teams like Spoookie, Radioactive, and teams with far more superiority like the Abjured.
Yeah, definitely so. In game number 1, going to Team Faded pretty handedly, I must say myself. 500 to 137, maybe the kill. No, 504 to 137. Game number 1 going to Team Faded right there. What do you think we could take from that first game? And going into a game number 2, what do you think Mental Asylum can maybe improve to? Maybe not even increase their chances of winning, but have a higher score, make it look like doing a little bit better as a team for the most part.
They definitely need to pick up the communication game. They need to be playing as a team, because at the moment it really doesn't seem like they're playing as a team, and we've seen this group of players actually do that. It's just unfortunately for them not happening today. A couple of mistakes here. It doesn't look like they're really making the right calls and rotations, and because of that, it's kind of looking like they're a little bit, like I said before, just a little bit disorganized, and it's really hurting them, because in this game you have to be organized. You have to know your rotations. You have to be hitting them on the right time, and if you're not, it's gonna be affected in the score, and that's why we're seeing this game 500 to 150-ish.
Yeah, and I mean we saw at the start of the game it was about 100 to 0, and we must say there were some nice rotations coming out there from Mental Asylum. You can't deny that, but for the most part, it wasn't them. It really felt like they're all on their own, on themselves. They weren't on the same page for the most part. They weren't, rotating as a team. They're rotating individually, which I guess it works, but you have to be on the same page with the team. They got to be knowing what you're doing. If you're not able to win any of those fights because of it, it's really going to make you start out in a 100 to 0 deficit. And we'll have to see if the same thing's going to happen on this map, because it seems like a lot of time when things like that happen on map number 1, map number 2 is even worse for that team that lost. So we'll have to see if it's going to be, better or worse for this Mental Asylum team. We'll have to see what they clean up for the most part. I don't think anything had to do with any builds, but Sublime is changing his up a little bit. He's going to be taking that quickness shout, and he's going to be going to shelter rather than the shout for the heal there. He's also taking the staff now instead of that hammer.
Yeah, they need to be aware that the fact that, this red team is kind of playing for those point retakes. They're kind of over-rotating a little bit, kind of always making sure that they're +1ing and just win the point over and then gain it back and hold and just kind of leave one person on it, and if a fight develops somewhere else, that person can rotate off, and even if that point goes away, they're going to be able to come back with the numbers advantage and win it back. So they need to be aware that this red team is actually playing it as if they don't care if they lose the points, because they're going to be able to come back numbers advantage and take it right on back. So
it doesn't look like we have any swaps coming out for anybody else on this Mental Asylum team except for Sublime. I like his swaps. It's a little bit more to the norm build rather than that hammer. I mean, he gave it a whirl, but I don't think hammer really has any place on this map, if any, because you really can't utilize that CC very well on graveyard, the graveyard node. So I like his change here. He's actually swapped over to the scepter now, keeping the shield but not running that mace anymore. So interesting change on that scepter from the mace. But looks like we have game number 2 underway. Let's take a look at what we have for the opening splits in this game number 2. Of course, the winner of this set will be taking on the Abjured in the semifinal matchup. But take a look at the opening splits. Looks like we're going to be having 2 go to the home point for this team Faded. That would be Amon and Bear. 3 going to home for Mental Asylum. A 2-1-2 coming out here for this red team. They're looking to play 3 nodes right off the start. What do you think of this one?
It's definitely an interesting split. I mean, the reason why Sublime actually went for that scepter is because it looks like he's going to be trying to play that midpoint a little bit more, so definitely a little bit more lockdown. He's not going to really get as much out of the symbol because of that, so going for that scepter definitely...
Home run, though. It's obliterated over here at the waterfall. Just taken out. Karina wasn't able to really help him. Really nice burst coming out there from Max, Pa, and Fox, and now he's under a lot of pressure. Nice Moa coming out there from Pa as well, who's under a little bit of pressure. Still got the Moa, got him out immediately out of play. He's taken down as well. Nice kills. This is a very good start coming out here for the red team, or blue.
Yeah, this is huge right here for them. This is the momentum shift that they absolutely needed going into this game. They needed to take those 2 kills and push the momentum back over to the midpoint right now, where they're actually doing a good job so far. Nick Jr. under a little bit of pressure right now, and if they can keep him alive and focus the pressure down onto Bear, put him on the defensive on a defensive footing, and put some damage on him. It looks like Amon trying to go on the aggressive actually onto Foxy. They really need to take a kill right now. Sublime right now very low, Nick very low. Looks like red team actually going to be able to turn this one back around if they can take this kill off on Nick Jr.
Yeah, that would be a pretty big pickup, and they're still going in for the res. They might be able to get it. I don't know. There's so much cleave coming out here. 4 team faded, and they're taking so much damage in the process. There was a portal coming out from Max. He is going to get him back up.
He got banished into the portal. Oh, no.
He got banished into the portal.
How did that even happen?
Banished.
He got knocked back.
Oh, he got, okay. He got banished. I was wondering what you mean in there.
He did not get banished. No one could have banished him.
Yeah, he said banished, so I was a little confused there. He must have got updrafted into the portal.
Oh, boy. He got updrafted right into the portal.
That was an interesting play nonetheless. A very nice pickup. Paw dies in the process. Decaps still come out on both of these nodes, both of the side nodes. Now it looks like the Catfish is under a whole lot of pressure. Nice updraft to put up some pressure onto it from Nick. Still has about 50% Shroud left. There is Cap on the waterfall coming out there. 14 faded. Could get both side nodes. I don't know. This could be brutal coming out for Mental Asylum.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like Foxy right now getting very, very low. Nick trying to get some support for him, but Bear doing a great job of getting him that low to begin with right now. Karina, though, and not a good spot here. Looks like Karina at about 30% HP. Looks like he's going to try to pull back and go back over to the graveyard, actually, where Sublime holding that graveyard node right now. I mean, looking at it right now, it definitely is a lot closer than we saw last game. They're making the right adjustments. Papa trying to go for that Rampage, unfortunately, only got the Tornado. Looks like actually still going to get some use out of it with those knockbacks, knocking back Karina all over the place right now. Karina at about 10% HP, trying with everything that he has to stay alive here. Looks like he's creating a little bit of a train on himself here with the balloon members just all over his back. Looks like they're actually doing a good job of creating some counter pressure though, as they are at about 40% HP, and they actually peeled a couple of them off of Karina completely here. Karina in a good spot right now to put some damage down onto this graveyard.
Nick and Papa trying to keep themselves alive. Karina actually taken into the downstate there. Will to stop. There's the Shadow Refuge coming out from Amon. Nice knockback, but it wasn't enough to get the stop there. Barrett is taken down as well. Nice Moa coming out there from Papa. They got to pick up a kill here. We have Catfish going in for the res once again. They got to keep up the cleave. There's the stop from Sublime. Is he able to get it? No, it's interrupted. I think they went in for that a little too late. Otherwise, they could have had that one. Now Nick under a whole lot of pressure. Look at the con. He's taking on him. Have to see if he's able to stay alive. It's Stalactite take it down as well. They've been taking people down, but they haven't solidified any kills.
Looks like Style was going to be pushing himself off, trying to get that res, a little bit of a reset there. They almost got the, oh, they did get the stomp, actually. He was about 99%. Unfortunately for them, Karina might actually be following here. 6 burn stacks on him here. Still so low. Pressure looks like it's going to be too much as Maxlin takes him out with the help of Papa going for that free stomp there. He's going to be pulling off and heading back over to that.
They need to rotate. They need to rotate right now. They've taken out 2 people, but it's Stalactite's back up respawn. They still haven't got a single cap because of it. Run now taken down. That's a nice pickup, but they're going to get the sides once again, more than likely. Papa trying to contest with that Rampage against Amon over here at the quarry, who's holding on quite nicely against a Rampage. Max now going to rotate against this one, but still, they might be able to pick up the cap at the graveyard. That'd be a big one. There they finally get it. We'll have to see if they're able to pick up the 2 cap for the first time this game.
Yeah, H-Man right now struggling a little bit. Looks like he's going to try to, you know, stall this off a little bit, but Blue Team is going to get this 2 cap, come back into this game a little bit. Looks like Sublime as well as Nick going to be holding off Bear right now, trying to get some points towards this cap. Actually, Stal.
Yeah, Stal actually, I don't know, he's hanging on just fine against Nick. We'll have to see how that works out. Now it looks like Karina is under a little bit of pressure. He's going to be taken down there by Foxable. Gets taken into the downstate. Gets res nearly instantly coming out there. Bear's now under a little bit of pressure, but the pressure is still being put down onto Karina, who's out. He's a decent amount of Shroud here, but the 2 cap is going to allow for this Mental Asylum to get back into this one.
Yeah, absolutely. They're definitely going to be catching up here, and they're going to be able to keep this waterfall neutralized for quite some time too, which is a huge play for them. Looks like Maxlin was dropped into the downstate right now. They're going to be losing him actually very, very shortly. Jumping right onto Karina, actually. Karina now at about 10% HP as well, but covered in a shroud of his own teammates, so he's going to be pretty safe actually over here. And with Foxy going down as well, Red Team going to be turning this one back and trying to gain a lead for themselves here, as they do still have that 30-point advantage. They need to get this. They need to get this point actually.
But Karina's taken down though. Is Bear able to get the res? Got to cleave it a little bit. No, it does not happen there. There was no cleave coming out there from Pa, but Pa was under so much pressure and there were so many reinforcements coming out there for Team Faded. I don't think there was a whole lot he could do at that point in time. He needs to stay alive. They're going to hold on to this graveyard node and contest Waterfall, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like with Red getting back the core node, they're going to push that right back into the midpoint, actually. But, you know, that's definitely a hard one to take back. Karina, especially right now, taking some pressure. And it looks like they're going to be able to take off Pawpaw, actually, just a couple of seconds. If they can finish him off.
Oh, and it looks like Fox is under so much pressure. Remember, no Vampire, so Fox can't afford to go into that one. Vampirins will not save him, but they don't know where Pawpaw's at because of the fact that Shadow Refuge came out. Overrun knows he's in the area, got the res, but still Fox is under so much pressure. Credit Fox for that play. That was a pretty good pickup. Despite that, they lost cap at the graveyard, and now we're going to see Team Faded start to gradually build a lead.
Yeah, and they need to build one quickly for themselves. I mean, they had a huge one already to begin with, and they just kind of fell off a little bit. Papa actually went for that Elixir X. Doesn't have the same luck as we saw Chafe actually having last week at the monthly. Looks like he's trying to keep them off of Sublime. Sublime trying to stay alive, doing a little bit of self-res in action right now. Has that symbol that's going to be coming down in just a matter of moments. However,
Pa going in for the S-res. Is he able to get it? Nope. Sab Stomp. Sab Stomp gonna help Ulrun solidify that kill. Now Pa is probably gonna be taken out here. Remember, that gate is down. So if they do manage to hit 350, they could go for a Lord Rush. But look at the health pools. Max down, Nick down, Fox down, Pawpaw about to be taken down. All 5 members dead for Mental Asylum. We are no doubt going to see 3-cap come out here and a huge surge in points because there's nothing Sublime can do right now.
Yeah, and this is the map that if you full wipe on, it's actually pretty much over. Still. I mean, I expect to see them pretty much regroup. We might see a couple people pull off, maybe just 2 maximum pull off, but we're definitely going to see at least a 3 to 4 man rush over towards at least one node. They're going to probably decide which one they want to go to. It's looking like it's going to be either Graveyard or Quarry. I expect to see them go towards probably Quarry. I would have to say they want to go from as far away as possible, so that way if they do die in that fight, they can get that respawn and go straight to Waterfall, and that's going to be a lot quicker for them. It looks like they're going to actually have to defend.
Yeah, I'm not sure why Sublime went to the Waterfall. Pawpaw is not going to have more support than Sublime. I'm not exactly sure on that rotation, but now the Lord is about 40% HP right now. The Elixir X is going to get Tornado for Pawpaw. That's not going to do much for him except CC a little bit. Now the Lord about 15% HP. It's going to be undoubtedly taken out here as the health pools of Team Faded look brilliant right now. That won't be gamed just yet, but an extra 150 point boost.
Yeah, and that's pretty much going to solidify the game. They have to come out of this really gears grinded, though. I mean, they have to move over to this Waterfall node, just get it capped out. Looking over at the mid-fight, I mean, Karina still holding this off so well, and I mean, really, they could just go over to this point right here and just hold this off completely, but Karina right now in a position where he's going to get completely blown up if he's not careful. Does get the Plague off, and that's huge there, as Ulrun's going to be able to heal him up and basically keep him alive and hold this node in the meantime as they move over towards that Waterfall. Once they get the full cap on that, that's pretty much the game, of course, as well as Bear getting the decap there. So this is pretty much over. Red team getting that Lord kill extremely fast and moving over and getting that those quick caps as well. They're going to probably hold on to the Graveyard actually, despite losing Ulrun as well.
3-man fear came out there from Karina with that staff, but regardless, picking up the win there, coming out for Faded, gonna pick up that one and move on to the semifinals to take on the Abjured, a 2-0 victory for Team Faded. Something we kind of expected. Did you expect that start, though, coming out for Mental Asylum? They held on quite well throughout most of that game until that 5-man wipe came along.
Yeah, that was definitely a lot better than what we saw the game prior. I mean, it was a lot closer. I think I mentioned it before as well, that they were kind of holding on a little bit longer than I expected. But yeah, as soon as that 5-man wipe came, things quickly fell apart. You know, and because of that, you know, unfortunately they were not able to hold on, especially, I mean, they definitely should have had that Lord defend. They definitely had the ability to do that. They had the people there who had the defensive cooldowns to support the Lord, and they should have been able to defend against that. That's a huge 150 point deficit that they basically just suffered for free and didn't do anything about. So that's very unfortunate for them, but you know, we are going to be seeing that team move forward to fight the Abjured, like you said, in the semifinal.
Yeah, that's going to be a very tough matchup coming out for Team Faded, who, you know, I'm not so sure if they expected to go up against the Abjured today. I definitely know they would have much rather went up against Radioactive or Team Spoookie. But regardless, they got to deal with it. They got to go up against the Abjured. How do you think maybe they can fare against them before we head to a break? Because I believe we are going to be having Spoookie against Radioactive on stream.
Against the Abjured, I'm not sure. I'm not really thinking like it's going to be looking too good. I mean, they're definitely a pretty solid team. They're definitely getting better every single week. They have great pickups in the form of All Run as well. So, I mean, they're definitely looking very solid. But I think they have just a couple too many things to work on before they're actually at a level where they can really consistently compete with a team like the Abjured. So, I think Abjured is probably going to be moving on pretty easily through them into the finals as they typically do, and we're going to be seeing actually Spoookie or Radioactive, the the rematch we love to watch.
It's always so close. It's always so close, that matchup. But like I want to reiterate, excuse me, Team Faded, like you said, they've been with All Run a week now. We don't even know how much they practice with All Run. So it's going to take them a few weeks, if not a little bit longer, to get in the, they've been kind of a four-man group with a sub, but now that they have that permanent fifth, they have to be pretty happy that it is, in fact, All Run. But guys, like we said, we're going to head to a break, and when we're back, we will have that semifinal matchup ready for you. It's going to be it's going to be Radioactive up against Spoookie. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody, to the North American ESL Go4 Weekly number 47. We have our semifinal matchup ready for you guys. It's going to be Spoookie up against Radioactive, a match we are not new to whatsoever. What are your thoughts on this one, Heurix?
Oh, this one's going to be definitely really interesting. We're going to have one sub on each side, providing some interesting contrast to what these teams are used to running. Guardian for Radioactive going to be picking up that Ranger, and on the other side of things, Beyond actually going to be taken up, and that's going to be Flume. That is Beyond Flume right there. That's he's gonna be taking up Thief, and that's gonna be forcing Happy Kid to play something different because this could really they could switch their roster around so much right now. Of course, Schnicky has been known to also pick up Ranger. Happy Kid could fall back to that Thief while Beyond goes over to that Dagger Elementalist. There's a lot of roster variations that both of these teams could potentially take on. So, I mean, while this game one is still going to be very interesting because we have a couple of members on the roster playing some very interesting setups, it could completely change in game two.
Yeah, this is going to be up in the air. I mean, week after week, this matchup has been so close. And with the roster change coming out for Radioactive, they're probably a little unsure of how the Guardian is going to work out for them today. And then, like you said, on this side of Spoookie, they have Beyond coming in today. That means moving Happy Kid over to the Mesmer, which we have seen plenty of times, but it's obvious. I don't think it's his main class, so it's not going to be, might not be all the way as good as they may have if they had their full roster. So we'll have to see how it works out for them. But let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got for this game number one. Both teams have joined up over on the blue. We have Radioactive over on the red. Spoookie takes away with Spoookie.
All right, looking here at Team Spoookie, this is going to be Happy Kid up first, going to be taking up that Mesmer, as we said before. He's going to be opting for the Sword Torch with the Great Sword as opposed to the staff that we normally see his teammate Mime pick up. He's going to be running with Rune of the Pack as Vampirism runes are banned today. Berserker Amulet's going to be his choice. Chaos, Dueling, and Domination is his setup, not opting for that Inspiration that his teammate goes for. So a little bit different of a Mesmer build than we're used to seeing from this Team Spoookie team, but once again, Happy Kid is not the same player as Mime, and Mime is some kind of a genius, and we've been seeing a little bit lately that this kid can make some play. Yeah. Next up, we do have Beyond playing as Flume here today. This is going to be a Thief here playing for us. He's going to be playing Dagger Pistol, going for that Rune of the Scholar actually with Marauder Amulet. Going to be playing up Deadly Arts, Shadow Arts, and Trickery. Going to be pretty much the same build as usual, but opting for that Scholar rune there for that instant backstab burst, as opposed to the pack runes that we might see in a as a variation from that Vampirine setup. We do have Schnicky Mouse going to be pretending to be his alter ego here, Mickey Mouse, right now, and that's going to be Dagger Elemental. He's going to be opting in here for Rune of the Strength and Celestial Amulet, of course, going to be picking up Fire, Water, and Arcane. Next, we do have the second Dagger Elementalist. That's going to be Kodo, and he's going to be taking up Rune of the Hullbrack instead. Celestial Amulet going to be taking Fire, Water, and Arcane. And finally here, we do have Mime going to be playing his build that I think he's the only one that pretty much ever runs this. Might be the only person that can run this, which is going to be that double Mantra setup. Going to be playing Greatsword Staff here. Rune of the Pack, Berserker Amulet going to be taking the traits of Domination, Dueling, and Inspiration.
Yeah, I like this comp. It's a lot of damage with plenty of support. We know Schnicky Sticky, I don't think he's as well practiced on the DD Ellie as Kodo, but definitely very solid at the DD, and they're going to be able to put out a lot of support for both Mesmerus and the Thief. It's going to have more damage, I think, than their normal comp, more burst damage for that matter, but still about the same amount of support for the most part. But I really like this. It's going to be exciting to watch these guys go up against this Radioactive roster. Taking a look at it, we got Ready Made as always playing that Staff Ellie with the Rune of the Melandru, as well as Selly Amulet running Earth with the Stone Heart, with Water and Arcane. He's going to be taking Mist Form today rather than Cleansing Fire. That is something he's expecting a lot of damage from the double Mesmer Thief, so I really like that because he's going to get plus in fights a lot of the time. He's going to be in a lot of 1v2s, if not 1v3s during this set, and I really like the Mist Form coming out from him. He's also taking Glyph of Elementals, which is rather the norm for him now. But take a look at the big damage. It's going to be Overpowered Necro, running the Support Guardian with the Staff, Mace. Looks like he's taking the Focus today with the Rune of Mercy and Selly Amulet. Going to be running Honor, Valor, and Virtues with Sanctuary and Purging Flames. This is not something we are new to, but he's going to be taking one shout now, rather than maybe 2 or 3 or even sometimes 4 we see come out from these guys. So a little bit of a switch up from last week. They're always playing with this. The other Guardian that's going to be Spexy Cat Punch, that is Tesla, running the exact same thing, if I'm not mistaken, with the Staff, Mace, Focus with the Rune of Mercy, Selly Amulet running Honor, Valor, and Virtues. Exact same thing, if I'm not mistaken. Mayhem, that is Crisis, running the Warrior for this team with the Hammer Greatsword. Not going to be running that Axe Shield variant we sometimes see. With the Pack Runes, Zerker Amulet going to be taking Strength, Defense, and Discipline. And finally, the Guardian, the substitute for today as they proceed to find a 5th. It's going to be playing the Power Ranger with the Greatsword Longbow, with the Rune of the Ogre, Marauder Amulet coming out from him, with Nature Magic, Wilderness Survival, and Beast Mastery. So pretty standard, I want to say, coming out for Radioactive. A couple swaps coming out there for the Guardians, and a Power Ranger coming out for them. How do you think they fare in this one?
The Guardian builds are definitely some of the most interesting that I think we can say that we've ever seen. I mean, this is definitely something that we might say is akin to Morpheus of Apex Prime, actually, running something similar to this. He definitely would opt for that Healing Breeze if I know him at all, for sure. But, running that Writ of Persistence, definitely a good pickup. They're going to have a lot of sustain on that point, and that's the whole purpose here. They want to be on that point. They want to be keeping Mayhem up and active and in this fight, because keeping him alive is going to be what's dishing out all this damage and the ability to keep things alive for your team. But definitely the biggest factor here is going to be the Guardian, and once again I do want to iterate that is actually the Ranger. When we say Guardian, that is the Ranger. We could probably just say that that's the Ranger from now on, just for clarity's sake. But he's definitely gonna be the biggest factor. They've used Ulran as a Ranger, but they didn't really have a lot of experience with actually rotating it. So it's really gonna come down to how they use him.
Yeah, take a look at the opening splits for this game number 1, this best of 3 series. It looks like we're gonna have Crosser. It's gonna be Kodo going to that hench point for this red team. Spoookie, and nice line of warding, but is it able to? I don't know if he's going to be able to hold him off. Ready May, no! The lightning flash came out there from Kodo, so Ready May not going to get that full cap. It's going to be detrimental in the long run, because that's going to be a hard decap for Ready May to get. Take a look at the mid fight, though. That's going to be a big team fight.
Yeah, and already beyond taking it to downstate here, the Ranger here from Radioactive was able to just absolutely decimate him, so he's going to be dropping out. And that's a huge pickup, as they're going to have a lot of point control, and especially so with the Rampage coming out from Mayhem, able to push them a little bit off. Mime is on the point now. Sneaky going to rotate back as well. Mime, though, still taking a little bit of pressure. Mayhem forced off a little bit. Looks like he's going to try to put down some pressure on him now. Sneaky Mouse trying to get some control. They do have that point capped on mine, and they're going to rotate the fight over towards that hinge point.
It's really going to hurt Radioactive for the time being. Not getting that cap, because that nice lightning flash coming out from Kodo. Despite that, Mayhem under a whole lot of pressure at the midpoint right now. Has no cooldowns left. We'll have to see how it works. There's the portal coming to the midpoint for Happy Kid. Going to try and lay down some damage onto Crisis, who has so many condies sticking on him. His last Endure Pain gonna run out in just a second as he gets spiked into the downstate. The big damage going in for the rest. Isn't enough. There's the Time Warp to stop. Coming out there from the Time Warp. Gonna pick it up and interrupt the heal for the big damage, cleaning him out of the fight as well. Man, that is a nice 2 pickups along with that stomp.
Yeah, and right now this Ranger here needs to be extremely careful. Looks like he's going to be opting to go back over towards the mine point, where actually Mime is going to see him do it. Blind the Maul, actually. Such a clutch play from him there. Looks like he's going to be taking so much pressure, not able to actually land that Hunter shot. Going to be forced back onto the point where he's forcing himself in a rather peculiar position, actually, as he's just going to try to keep this node decapped, and it's Schnicky that's going to be holding him off. Looks like he's going to be met, actually, maybe by Happy Kid. He's stuck between a rock and a hard place right now. Not a good spot for him, but, you know, looking over here at the hinge, we're actually already seeing Ready Made as well as the Guardians here from this blue team come over. But it's basically just forcing this to be a 5v4, actually 5v3. We're going to be seeing Mime as well as Schnicky close the gap as well. Kodo right now taking a little bit of the pressure, but you know, if they're going to be holding this 5v4, actually, they're going to be pretty much solidifying a victory already from the outset, because they're just holding them in between these nodes, getting some pressure down on this warrior where he's already in a position where he could be dropped.
Yeah, he has no cooldowns left. Rampage up in another 15 seconds we have. Why? I don't know why he went into there. He didn't have the Guardians. I mean, they were kind of near him. Not sure why Crisis is leading the way. There's no reason he should be at the front of this pack moving forward. It should be along with the Guardians, who are 3 or 4 steps behind him. Ready Made trying to put out some support as well. There is the portal coming out from one of the Mesmers, who is looking to defend the mine as the Guardian, that would be the Ranger, actually looked to get a decap. Pretty good portal, I must say, coming out there. I believe that was from Mine.
Yeah, not sure what the tornado usage was there for. I mean, he definitely had so much stab coming out from these Guardians. They still have that Virtue of Courage recharge as soon as they rally their teammates. So, not a good play there, at least in my opinion. Shanky going to be dropping in the downstate. In the meantime, though, he's forcing himself back onto the point. Actually, through a portal there where he is going to probably get rezzed, as Ready Made is the only one in the area to actually do anything about that. So they're going to be portaling over to take down Ready Made here, and this is a huge push. Kodo right now still in the downstate. Sticky going to go ahead and get him back.
Yeah, but we see the Guardian going for that decap over at the mine. Should be able to pick that up, as they did solidify the midpoint. They don't need to fight at Hinge right now. Let Ready Made die. There's no reason they have to come in here because of the fact they have the 2-cap, just a matter of seconds. But Ready Made doing such a good job of holding on right now. He is going to be able to stay alive for the time being till his support gets in here. And Tesla getting the quickness res. That was a very impressive rotation, very clutch plays coming out there from Ready Made, staying alive, and they're going to be getting a 2-cap and maybe a 3-cap over here. Yes, the 3-cap from Radioactive. They're back in this one.
Yeah, it looks like right now we might actually see this turn around a little bit here, and that's an unfortunate play or pickup actually for this red team, as they had such a good lead going so far. Actually, I mean, they were, you know, a good 70-80 points ahead. They had a lot of map control, forcing the fight over towards this far node for them, and they're going to be hard pressed to gain this one back, actually. But you know, right now we're going to be seeing Smexy being taken down probably in the Sanctuary, and that is going to happen. Looks like they're going to be trying for the res here. Time Warp comes out. But despite that, I mean, they still might get it because that Sanctuary is just making so many knockback plays. Look at this.
Oh my goodness, it's still knocking him back, but the kill is probably going to come out. Now Mayhem under so much pressure. Mayhem taken out as well. There's so much damage. Once that Time Warp comes down, there's absolutely nothing that Radioactives can do about it. They can put the Sanctuary down. They can try and hold off on it. But for the most part, that kill will happen. There's not a whole lot they can do about that. Now the big damage is left alone at the midpoint. The MOA comes out. Nice MOA coming out there from one of the Mesmers. And they're going to pick up a kill here and get their 2-cap back.
Yeah, big damage is going to be dropped as well on the keep, actually, where he was just assassinated by this double Mesmer team. Looks like this Ranger here is going to try to get some damage down. He's going to get dazed in the process, though, and they're going to finish the stomp off on big damage here. Probably take out the Ranger. If he's not careful, he's going to be trying to get into a better position, but both of these Mesmers here are just going to ward him right on off. Looking over here at the mine point, though, Schnicky is in a 1v2 versus Mayhem and Smexy Cat Punch, where I expect that he could probably sustain for a little bit here. I mean, that the only pressure he's really going to be receiving here is from this warrior, and if he focuses a lot of his blinds on some of those hammer attacks, he's going to be able to stay alive and just run around the point. I mean, Mayhem not as good as him at basically just jumping around on this boardwalk here, and we saw the effects of that as Mayhem was lagging behind a little bit, and that happens time and time again on this map, where we see Mayhem falling behind in those little jump around spots.
Yeah, now Mime's going to plus this fight, so it will be a big fight over here. There's the Rampage coming out from Crisis, though, as we see Mime going in for the res. Is it enough? Nice. Oh, man, that Rampage really saved the day there for Crisis and the big damage. Or excuse me, that was Tesla. As he picks up the kill, I think that was an unnecessary Sanctuary that came out there from Smexy Cat Punch. Going to put on a 90-second cooldown there. And now they got to take out Mime. That was a pretty good pickup, as they haven't taken the lead yet, but the 2-cap right here really going to prove to be something for him.
So much downstate cleave coming out from Crisis here, and Looks like he's going to accept some counter pressure there from Hap. He's trying to bring back the Vengeance down on top of him right now. It looks like he's at about 40% HP, dropping a little bit still, but looks like he's in a position where his teammate is going to be able to keep him alive. Schnicky's still trying to get some damage down onto him, though, but looking back over at the keep.
It happened. The big damage picked up that decap against, you know, Mesmers with portals and an Elementalist and a Thief. That was pretty poor rotations coming out there from Spoookie. Able to get the cap for themselves again, but, I mean, Radioactive has the lead, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And Schnicky actually right now is trying to ward off Crisis here, who is going to try to move over towards that keep. He's still looking pretty healthy in the meantime, but with both of those Elementalists on him, I do not expect him to last that much longer. I mean, they're going to be able to get the conditions down packed onto him, and he's not going to be able to survive. His Berserker stance did just end. He has nothing left for himself right now other than the support from his Guardian friend there. Looks like they're going to be forcing the fight back over towards the Henge, though. We're already big damage right now at about 50% HP. Mayhem, although, taking some pressure. It looks like he has to get his mantras back up and has to worry about covering them as well, as Mayhem actually is going to be coming in real hot right now as he's going to be trying to put some pressure down. But still, Mayhem just so good at covering those mantra casts there and getting him back up. He's back at full HP. Crisis now following him a little bit, but looking back over at this Henge point, we still have big damage, as well as Ready-Made taking so much pressure. Look at Ready-Made go right now, just trying to get some heals for himself, trying to get some support out for his teammates, keep big damage alive, but it's just not enough. He's going to be going for that res, actually get it as well, as big damage was able to push them back away, and Ready-Made right now trying to keep himself as well as his team alive. Basically,
oh man, the burst though! That huge burst and the time warp down on that point. There is the decap coming out there, but the decap at the midpoint, Ready-Made under so much pressure doesn't have anything left. He is going to be spiked down there. That's a huge play coming out there for Spoookie, but they're slowly losing this one, down 50 points. They want to get this cap at the midpoint. Schnicky's going to be forced off of it, no doubt, with that Rampage. There is the full cap, the 2 cap once again coming out here for Radioactive, who they've done so many things right after they were down so big in this game, and it's so difficult for Spoookie to overcome that, but they still can if they're able to win a couple of these team fights and force Radioactive back to that Henge node like they did earlier on today.
Yeah, and Crisis is going to be dropped here. Actually, Ranger are going to be going for that res as well as Smexy Cat Punch there, and he's going to be able to get him back up, so he's going to be able to turn the pressure now onto Mime. Unfortunately for him, just not taking it there. Looks like he's going to be trying to get his mantras back up, so he's going to be healthy actually once he gets a couple of these casts off. He still has that Fire Greatsword, so he might be able to put some damage down as well, but I just think that blue team just has so much control on this node right now, and Crisis is probably going to be able to take the damage down onto it and maybe even take him out if he's...
I don't know.
Actually, the counter pressure is just
man.
proving to be a little bit too much. The control coming out from this Mesmer here, as well as Schnicky, is proving to be just far too much. Mayhem being taken down here. Do they have the ability to take take him out? And that is not the case. They can turn now onto Smexy Cat Punch, though.
I don't know, man. They have to hold on to this. Radio needs to hold on to this right now. They have a 2v1 though on the mine point, but Mayhem taken down once again. Is Tesla able to get the res? No, he is not. The stomp came out there from Schnicky Mouse. He needs to stay alive as long as he can, because look at the score, 75 points away. There's the portal coming out there from, I believe that was Happy Kid there. And, oh, nice knockback. Is the big damage able to go to the point in time? He does. Oh man, if he gets that res, I think this is it.
I can't believe that they are letting this happen. They basically let that happen. That was a huge misplay, because now they have to worry about 2 Guardian when they're so close from losing that they have to be able to sustain against. And the res plays from both these Guardians are absolutely insane. You have to remember that Virtue of Courage does recharge as soon as they get back up, so they're going to have 2 more Virtue of Courages if they can get each other up.
But they portaled out too early. They portaled out too early. There was no reason for them to leave that fight. They should have noted that rotations were coming from the mine point. That ultimately, I mean, the Guardian is still at the mine point right now, so it's not like they wouldn't be holding on to a point, but they would have rotated out of the midpoint over to the mine and probably plus that one and got a kill or 2. And could have been in this game, but who knows what would have happened there. Down 15 points away from victory coming out here for Radioactive. I think they got this in the bag. The Guardian is not going to die with 8 points to go.
Yeah, not at all. They would have to absolutely obliterate him in 1 second. I'm going to be trying for it nonetheless, though. Looks like Beyond actually taking a lot of pressure, and they're not going to be able to definitely take out the Ranger or Ready-Made, of course, and there's a lot of time here. So they need to worry about going into Legacy of Foe Fire right now. Beyond not really able to get a whole lot going for himself this round. Definitely needs to make sure that he makes some changes going into the next one.
Yeah, what did we see that game? I mean, that was so different from Radioactive and than previous weeks. And maybe you could say, oh, they've got a sub on Spoookie, but they've got a sub on Radioactive as well. And it looked like they were going to get dominated in the early stages of that game. You can't doubt that. Like you were saying, they're down 70, 80 points. Radioactive just came surging back through a 2-cap and a 3-cap very briefly. They seem to just get their feet underneath themselves after realizing, hey guys, we got to get our stuff together here because we're going to lose the game if we don't.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a couple of it's just a couple of misplays, and that's really what it comes down to. I mean, blue team still actually, I mean, Ready made able to hold on to that hinge for so long with the help of his Guardian big damage there. They were able to hold on to that for so long and just stalemate the match for so long while the rest of the team just kind of went about going for decaps and holding off with the 1-cap going through. And that's pretty much what it comes down to. I mean, they can't let things like that happen. They need to win those fights quickly, shut down that Ranger to make sure that he's not raining death down on top of those characters like Beyond, who Beyond, unfortunately for this team, was not able to accomplish all that much in that round.
Yeah, and you gotta credit, I mean, we saw some spectacular survival coming out from Ready-Made in multiple 1v2s and the 1v3 earlier on. And he went down eventually, but had his Guardian there to res him almost instantly when he went down. So you really got to credit the survivability coming out from Ready-Made. Amazing job from Radioactive. Now thinking about, there were some great plays coming out from the side of Spoookie. They had some great time warps coming out that really solidified kills. Even with Sanctuary, I remember at a point there was a Sanctuary that was down, and they kept getting knocked back, but still got the kill because of that slow end. Their cleave was so tremendous. But ultimately, what do these guys need to improve upon? It looks like we have a third Elementalist coming out here for Spoookie.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see if Schnicky decides that he wants to make the adjustment over to the Ranger. And this is what I talked about actually before that first game, that these teams have the ability to make so many adjustments to the way that they have their composition made up. And I have to think that they're going to make a switch, because I'm not totally sure if they can actually triple stack a class like this. So they might have to make an adjustment, and I think that if they do, that's going to be I do think that that's going to be Schnicky going over to Ranger. I think that that's the move that they're going to make. I think they're just waiting on Schnicky to move over.
Yeah, just waiting on a ruling coming out.
Okay,
here.
they can triple stack it, so they can go for it. So Schnicky looks like he's going to be staying on this. They're going to be going for that triple Ellie and sticking to this Mime and Happy Kid, going back over to their mains. Looks like we're going to have Beyond move over to that third Dagger Elementalist. And he does have a little bit of some practice on this. He doesn't have the same rotation knowledge as he does on something like a Thief, but he does have some decent 1v1 capabilities on this class here. He does have the mechanics down for the most part, so definitely not going to hurt them by having him move over to this, and I think they're going to be better off for it.
And you got to admit, Happy Kid's going to feel much more comfortable on the Thief than the Mesmer. And I mean, he did pretty well on the Mesmer, but his Thief, you have to admit, it's pretty darn good. So we'll have to see how it works out for him. We do have a score update from the other semifinal, though. It looks like the Abjured did manage to beat Team Faded in their first game 500 to 349. So a relatively close game coming out for Team Faded against the Abjured, taking them out in that first one, 500 to 349. Can't say I expected it to be that close, but O-Run coming into that team, pretty good game from them.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like we're just waiting on these teams to ready up, and definitely been a while. This team has been known to run that triple Selly Ellie. They, one of their first actually. No, it actually was their first setup. Their first composition was 3 Elementalists and 2 Mesmer, with Happy Kid going over to that Mesmer actually. And that was post-patch a little bit, like right when they created this team. And they were kind of running that Mantra build that was so very strong at the outset of that patch for launch. Mime probably being the one to create that, if I'm correct. But he's been sticking to it. Happy Kid going to go back over to his Thief, though. But, other than that, this is pretty much what they're used to. This is something that they've run in the past quite often. Sunfish, I believe, was the third Dagger Elementalist, and he's going to be swapped out for Beyond, as he was not able to make it today. However, on the other side of the teams, we are going to be seeing the medium damage, which is still going to be pretty much the same setup, actually, if not the exact same setup, as he's going to be running the same build. 5 shouts here, actually, though.
Yeah, they're getting rid of Purging Flames now. But you know, ultimately speaking, these guys going at it here, just thinking about the comp switch that we have coming out for, you know, it's a little bit of a couple of build changes coming out here. 5 shouts coming out for the medium damage that is still overpowering Necro, and Tesla getting rid of Purging Flames, still taking a couple of shots. But the comp swap coming out there for Spoookie, thinking about who's going to take this game number 2, I like the comp of Spoookie just because of the fact that it has 3 DD but you have to think how practice is beyond really on the DD. Now, I have to say Happy Kid going over the Thief from the Mesmer is really going to benefit them, but as the swap from Beyond on Thief over to Ellie, is that going to be worth it? How practiced is he on that class, and is it going to pay off in the end? It looks like we do have game number 2 about to be starting here. Let's take a look at what we have for the opening split. If we do have Radioactive take this one, they will be moving on into the grand finals of this weekly cup number 47. Let's take a look at the opening splits. However, it looks like we are going to be having 5 go out of that main gate for Radioactive, as well as Schnicky going to that quarry, and Koda going to find nothing over at the waterfall. A 4-man push for Radioactive over to the quarry.
Yeah, we are going to be seeing that 4-man push that Radioactive has been known for. Guardian going to be pulling off. Oh no, looks like he is going to go in on that, and that is going to be Schnicky accepting that one. And I expect to see him kind of lingering back over towards this gate where he's going to wait for them to rotate off, because his team's just going to basically get that free cap on Waterfall and move the momentum forward. And Mayhem actually taking a ton of pressure already. Dropped to about 10%, does get the heals from his teammates, but they need to be careful because that Chaos Storm is just doing so much work right now on that net.
Oh, Mime actually really low. Nice fear coming out there. He's going to portal back to midpoint where they're going to put a lot of pressure down onto Readymade. Readymade, oh, he almost got obliterated there. Has nothing left. No cantrips left. Has a couple heals. He does have his heal up in a few seconds. Is he going to get the necessary support from his team? Really good job of staying alive as long as they don't give up that midpoint. It doesn't look like they're going to. Is Radioactive solidify the quarry? Readymade, is he able to get on the point time? Looks like just barely.
Alright, we are going to be seeing Readymade still at 30% HP right now. Looks like he's accepting so much damage, but he's going to be able to pull off, and he's going to be able to control that that bottom side of the map there, as we can see. However, it looks like we're going to be seeing also
Mime taken down. Mime actually taken down at the midpoint. So much cleave from Crisis, remember. It is almost impossible for them to get a res onto Mime without a time warp. And it's Mime down, so obviously they can't have the time warp. He's going to get stomped there. Now Schnicky under so much pressure. He only has Lightning Flash up. Going to be forced to use it here. But is there enough pressure from Radioactive to win the fight before respawns come out from Mime?
Oh, I think they definitely have the opportunity to do so. You have to be careful because they do have those 3 DD Ellies that are going to be able to sustain for so long, but with the help of that Ranger as well as that Warrior there, the damage pressure is just still so strong. They're trying to create a little bit of a train over onto Beyond here, who's taking so much heat right now, still at 10% HP. Does get dropped, actually.
Look at the damage from Crisis. It's just so insane how much damage he has. And Mine does have Time Warp, but isn't going to use it. He was way too low and in a bad position on the other side of the point to actually go in for that. Despite that, they're only up about 2 kills right now. They still haven't managed to figure anything out at this midpoint. If they're able to get a couple more kills onto the people that matter, but 3 DDLAs, it's going to make it really difficult for Radioactive. This is the map. This is the comp that Radioactive goes against. If they do happen to lose a fight, it might be game from then. It might be a loss for them. We saw that in the ESL Monthly as well.
Yeah, right now, Happy Kid looking for a target here. It looks like that one is going to be the medium damage. He's dropped to about 40%, still dropping right now. Mayhem getting close to being dropped as well. Red team could turn this one back around. Mayhem right now still at 0% of health. He does fall down into the Sanctuary, where it is going to be fairly safe to get him back up, but still gets stomped right there by Schnicky Mouse. None other than
that was a nice time warp.
Medium damage probably falling up as well as Mime right now, looking pretty healthy, looking like he's getting ready for it to put the dazes down actually, and actually we're going to be seeing
that was a pretty nice time warp
taken out completely.
Coming out from Mime. You got to credit him on that, but the Guardian is on top of Mime right now, who's just running for his life, not able to put out a whole lot of offensive pressure because the Guardian sitting about 100% HP right now. Now Tesla is under a little bit of pressure as well. He needs to be careful. He has one shot. He might be taken down here. I don't know. The Guardian is still under a little. Oh man, look at the heals that just came out there. Tesla back up to 100% HP, and the Rampage coming out from Crisis, who is on top of Kodo, able to get out of that one alive. And a very, very slightly. Oh, but the kill onto. Oh man, Beyond just took a brutal beating there.
Yeah, he's trying to get back over to his teammates, but I do not expect that to go. I don't expect that to go well, and it doesn't at all. And the rest of his team needs to basically hold this off, but they need to be worrying about the rotations too, because basically all this really is just a 4v4 or even a 5v4 where ReadyMade doesn't even need to be in this fight at all. And as long as Mayhem does his job correctly with this Ranger here, who's actually pulling off to get the free decap that they're not even aware of right
Oh boy, that would be a big pickup, but Crisis under so much pressure right now. Mime was under a lot of pressure, able to get some heals off. He is taken into the down state. We do have Tesla and the medium damage almost instantly getting that res onto him. We are going to see that 1v1 between the Guardian and I believe that Schnicky. If the Guardian's able to hold that off for a long time, that is going to be huge to the success of Radioactive. He's actually going to lead the fight. Not a bad move if he's pretty uncomfortable with that one.
Yeah, he knows he can just sit up on here on this ledge and just put some damage down onto Beyond, who's now about 50% HP. And if they can win this mid fight, then it doesn't matter. They can rotate back over towards that waterfall and take that one too. So this is definitely a good rotation on his part. Kodo now forcing himself back over towards that quarry node where the rest of his team is going to be waiting for him actually. And ReadyMade was dropped there as Happy Kid, Kissland, and Mime were able to take him out. Are they going to be able to get the res though? That's the big question. They should be able to do it.
I mean, Mime doesn't have Time Warp up for another 40 seconds. With only one Time Warp for Spoookie, they need to use it carefully at the best times possible. And that's the only time I really think Radioactive needs to be extremely careful when that Time Warp is up and they're able to make the big use of it. But now that the 2 caps come out from Spoookie, they're going to gradually start to build a lead. And unless Radioactive can actually get a decap here and clean up a fight, this could be bad for them.
Yeah, absolutely. They're able to come back into this right now as Red Team does have that 2-cap advantage, and they can pretty much just kind of stalemate this mid-fight and basically just leave ReadyMade potentially, as he's kind of forced to watch these nodes. He doesn't really necessarily rotate off all too often, so they could be kind of
oh, but Beyond is taken down there by Crisis. There's no way they're going to get that res quick to stop. They come out from big damage, but he's going to be able to perform regardless. I don't think they're able to get that one. No way. So that's going to be a nice decap with a tie game now. 8 minutes 45 left in this one. Going to be all tied up. This is such a close game. Anybody can take this. Will it come down to a Lord Rush, though?
That is definitely the big question for sure. And it's so close right now with already pretty much half the game already gone here. Mime right now looking like he's going to try to take out ReadyMade. ReadyMade just focusing on staying alive. That's pretty much his only role here on this in this composition, is basically just staying alive. He doesn't really put a whole lot of counter pressure down, but he really just kind of focuses on putting down some CCs and then just basically just making sure that he's always up.
There's the portal coming out there from Mime, and Happy Kid's going to go through with it as well, and Tesla now under a lot of pressure, but Mime actually took a lot of damage from Crisis in the process. Now he needs to be so careful. Is forced to blink out of that one. Oh man, he is under so much pressure right now. Crisis not going to stick on top of him. He does have Time Warp, so watch for the Time Warp as soon as a Radioactive member is taken down here.
Yeah, Mayhem might be the one to go, as he's now at about 70% HP. Can use this Sanctuary here as a free get out of jail free card right now, and he's going to be going back onto the point. Still looking fairly healthy. Kissland right now, the one that could potentially be going down now.
They do have the cap.
They do have that cap. They do still have Graveyard as well. And ReadyMade's going to be able to hold on to that one. But, you know, it pretty much looks like right now these Dagger Elementalists from this Team Spoookie here are just not able to accomplish what I think they set out to accomplish in the beginning here.
Yeah, and despite there's a score screen did update, they do have the 2 cap. Just barely happened. That seems to be when it happens. Oh, man, the maul from the Guardian going to hurt Mime quite a bit. Who still has Time Warp. As if they're able to take anyone down, that's when he's finally going to use it. But they really haven't got to that point in time. Radioactive been holding on so well. ReadyMade at the midpoint, though, did take a little bit of burst, should be okay for the time being. He does have medium damage there to support him, but if they're able to sustain this 2 cap, this could be bad for Spoookie, and we could see a Lord Rush, because I guarantee, despite the 2 cap for Spoookie, they will hit 350 points.
Yeah, it looks like here we're going to be seeing... I mean, I could definitely see this going to a Lord play, and with Mime at the helm here, with these portal plays, I think we could definitely see it.
But the decap at the midpoint almost happens. The big damage barely gets on the point in time, and he may be taken out. It looks like he is. There's the Time Warp we were talking about.
This is huge. They might be able to get something going off of this. They're going to probably turn over onto ReadyMade, who's going to be forcing himself into that Earth. Ooh, actually, they're going to be going for the portal and trying to take maybe Quarry, but Mime's going to be opting back through.
The Guardian's going to get that decap once again. Oh, man, we've seen this. This is the second time this game. He has done a great job able to get that decap. Oh, the Lightning Flash not going to land for Kodo. That is, oh, man, that could be the nail there. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to be trying to get some dazes onto this body right now. They need to finish him off. They do finish him off. Smexy Cat Punch, the only one left on this node. They do have the decap. Corey still in favor of the blue team. And medium damage is going to fall back to that one. Smexy Cat Punch still now at about 50% HP. Mime taking some heat, though, from this Ranger from Team Radioactive. And he's going to be following Mime up into this. He does have Blink, and he's going to be going over towards this Guardian. And he needs to be careful because he has to get his mantras back up before this Ranger puts some more heat on him. Looking at it right now, it looks like not so good for Mime at all.
Whoa! There is the game. The Lord just came out from Crisis there, and that is game number 2 going in favor of Radioactive. Can you say you expected that one, man? Ending like that. I mean, that is something we see Crisis do time after time. Pretty impressive from Radioactive, and even their substitute, the Guardian, he really impressed me that game. Did an excellent job of sticking on top of mine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Crisis just basically slipped under everybody's noses there. Got that Lord push with pretty much, I mean, not even pretty much, just absolutely no defense at all whatsoever. So able to take that one very quickly and fairly handedly as well.
Yeah, that was an impressive series coming out from Radioactive after a 2-week losing streak to Spoookie in the semifinals. And now that we have them moving on into the finals, they have to feel pretty good about that one.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, we're going to be seeing a very interesting rematch of Radioactive versus Abjured, and this happens almost as often as we see Spoookie versus Radioactive, but definitely still a little bit one-sided at the moment, with Abjured still displaying so much dominance, and we're still seeing kind of something new here with the Guardian subbing in for Olrun, and not actually subbing in, but actually part of, I believe, to be what their new roster is, as Olrun has made the swap over to Team Faded there. But, you know, despite that, we're still seeing something new here with the Ranger, and we actually saw a couple of times where the Abjured has faltered a little bit with a Ranger in play, and the Guardian has done a good job so far. So we'll have to see what happens going into this next match, but I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a great match, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the Abjured might match up against the Guardian and this new Radioactive roster, if he is in fact their 5th. I don't know. After that performance, they definitely have to consider it. But, guys, we're going to go on a short break, and when we're back, we should have that final match of the day for you guys. It's going to be the Abjured up against Radioactive. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody, to the ESL Go4 Weekly number 47. We have our final matchup ready for you guys. It's going to be the Abjured up against Radioactive, a match we haven't seen for a couple of weeks now, at least 2. Excited to see this one in the making once again.
Yeah, absolutely, and once again, we are going to be seeing one slight difference with the Guardian taking place of Olrun, who did make that change over to the other team, Team Faded there. But despite that, we are going to be seeing, actually, if we can go into game cams now, we're going to be seeing actually that double NG play, double Ellie from the Abjured, opting to take away that engineer in favor of. Opting to take away that thief in favor of the engineer there. Otherwise, everything's going to be looking the same here. Looking at the builds right now, we're going to be looking here at Fanaram first. That's going to be the first Dagger Elementalist, going to be going for Ruinous Strength. Of course, with Celestial Emmer going to be taking up Fire, Water, and Arcane for his setup. Next, we do have Florida Boy Dustin, going to be the first of 2 engineers probably running the same build, as it is going to be Rifles, Ruinous Strength, Soldier Amulet, going to be taking Tools, Explosives, and Alchemy here once again. I do want to iterate, and I feel like I can't iterate it enough, that Elixir X with the Toss Elixir X, this team, Abjured, has been known to pretty much always get Rampage off of that dice roll with the Elixir X. So that's definitely something to look out for, and definitely the utility of that Toss Elixir is just absolutely enormous there. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Moving on, we do have Nos, the Necromancer here, and he actually kind of inspired a lot of the Necromancer play that came out in NA. So definitely a top player here. That he's going to be playing the same build as always here. That's going to be Staff, Dagger, Warhorn with Rune of the Strength, and Celestial Emmer going to be still going with that triple Signet play. This time with Corrupt Boon, though, as opposed to Spectral Armor, that trait setup is going to be Soul Reaping, Spite, and Curses. Next, we do have 5 Gauge, the second of 2 NGs, as spoken of before, which is going to be Rifle, Soldier, Amulet, Rune of Strength, and he's still going to be going with Explosives, Alchemy, and Tools here. Once again, same thing applies, Elixir X and the Toss there as well from the tool belt. Finally, we do have Wakey going to be the second of two Dagger Elementalists, opting instead for the Rune of Holbrook as opposed to the Rune of Strength, still once again with the Celestial Amulet, and he's going to be rolling with that Fire, Water, and Arcane as well.
I think a bit of reasoning behind going to the NG is because the Thief doesn't have the Vamp Runes. Maybe he's a little afraid of what might happen. I mean, Toker is undoubtedly an amazing Thief, no doubt. Maybe he's not afraid, maybe it's just me thinking about it. Maybe a little afraid of what a Guardian, or the Guardian, excuse me, and Crisis can do to him without the Vamp Runes. That might, scare him off a little. And he does have a decent amount of experience on his NG. That's his second main class. Not afraid to take that out and play with it. So I do like the swap coming out from him. I really think it's going to favor them in the end. But take a look over at Radioactive. We have Ready Made playing the Staff with the Rune of Melandru, with that Celestial Amulet running Earth with the Stoneheart, Water, and Arcane. The Guardian playing the Power Ranger for this team with the Greatsword Longbow, Pack Runes, Zerker Amulet, taking Marksmanship, Wilderness Survival, and Beast Mastery. He swapped up. In the last set, he was taking Nature Magic along with Wilderness Survival and Beast Mastery, but he's swapping over to that Marksmanship, going to be putting out a little bit more damage rather than the defensive approach with this build. Spexy Cat Punch, that is Tesla, running the first of two Support Guardians with the Staff. Looks like Mace Focus with Soldier Runes. Cleric's Amulet going to be taking Valor, Honor, and Virtues with the Sanctuary once again. Mayhem, that is Crisis, running the Zerker Warrior with the Hammer Greatsword. Pack Runes, Zerker Amulet running Strength, Defense, and Discipline. And finally, the second Support Guardian with the Mace Focus Staff with the Soldier Runes. Cleric's Amulet going to be running Honor, Valor, and Virtues as well. But he is going to be running 5 Shouts rather than, Renewed Focus, Shelter, or the Sanctuary. So what are your thoughts on these guys and this match as a whole?
I don't know about this. I mean, the Sanctuary can definitely stop a lot of that grenade pressure that's going to be coming in, and without them having Stab, apart from Armor of Earth and that Toss Elixir, Nos having Plague Form, it's really going to be kind of interesting to see what that Sanctuary can do. But medium damage, going for that 5 Shout, that's definitely the biggest kind of not really sure about that one, as he's not going to have any blocks to defend himself from some of that burst play. I mean, both of those NGs went for takedown round as opposed to lock on there, so have a little bit more damage that could potentially come out of this. But despite that, the game is underway. The splits have started here.
Yeah, 3 crossing here for the Abjured. Usually we do not see 3 crossing. A couple of them go through the midway there after they go through the beach. But 3 going to be crossing, and it's putting the Radioactive team in a bit of a disarray here. I mean, look at Crisis. Look at where Crisis is at right now. He's forced all the way back to his points by Nos, or his base, excuse me, by Nos and Toker, who is nice overcharge shot. He can't do anything right now. Crisis is in a terrible position.
Yeah, and he was forced back there, absolutely forced, and he's going to be dropped here. Nos going to go for that free Plague Stomp there, solidify that one, go basically just force himself back over to where the point where actually Guardian right now is looking like he's getting a lot of pressure. That hip shot just continuously peppering him there. He's forced over off the node, and if he goes down over here, he's going to be in a world of trouble because medium damage is not going to be able to support him. Mayhem now coming off of respawn, going to be able to plus out that fight on Hinge, but it's just going to be too late. They're going to be coming off staggered because they're going to probably take out the Guardian here. It looks like the stop might actually collide. Does indeed. Panoram able to get that lightning flash, which was probably the only difference there.
But Crisis coming in with the rampage. He's getting on top of Toker. Toker's Elixir S is going to pop for him from the traits there, but the stomp onto the medium damage happens. Man, that extremely aggressive play from the Abjured seemed to pay off, pushing through that beach all the way over the hedge, killing Crisis right off the start. That really hurt Radioactive, and it's going to put them at a huge disadvantage in the opening minutes of this game.
Yeah, and look at the rotation play coming out from this Abjured team. Chase pulling off that mid-fight, got double plus thereby over at the keep, and actually Chase going to be pulling off and taking this 1v1. Just such great awareness from this team, good communication, and that's why they're #1 in the world. I mean, that is it right there. Chase actually not looking so good in this 1v1, as actually he put down his turret, and the damage from Mayhem's 100 blade was just so much that it killed the turret before he could even burst it.
Yeah, and now we have the rest of Radioactive regrouping at the mine. That's really all they can do right now, because the 2-cap of the Abjured, they have forced them into this kind of area over here, and there's not a whole lot Radioactive can do until they wait to regroup and push out of that one as a whole. And then they have their second Support Guardian off of respawn. Now they're finally making the push into the midpoint. Good regroup from Radioactive, but they're at such a huge deficit here, nearly 100 points.
Yeah, it looks like Red Team just holding off Mayhem right now, just throwing him into walls left and right. I mean, these engineers are doing absolute work on him right now. Ready-made trying to keep him alive along with Smexy Cat Punch right now, but it's just not really working as well as I think they planned, because he's still at about 20% HP and still dropping so quickly right now. Does have about 30% of his HP left over, but Florida Boy Dustin now taking a lot of the pressure as well, and looks like they're going to be focusing the pressure AoE style this time as Mayhem drops. Smexy Cat Punch still not looking so hot himself. They're going to be able to get this res though despite that, and Smexy Cat Punch needs the real wave right now as he does not have too much left in his repertoire.
Nice rampage from Chait there, able to make sure they get the member down, and now Mayhem is going to get S-Stomp. They have nothing they can do about this. We have the Guardian leaving the node, going for the decap over at the Henge, but is it going to be enough? He knows there's an Elementalist there. He's not going to be able to take on Thanarim. I think that is a good move from him to get out of there. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Florida Boy Dustin going for a decap against Smexy Cat Punch. Is he able to get it? He is. That is really not good for Radioactive right here, as they are all over the map, and they need to leave mid right here. There's absolutely no reason, despite having Nos pretty low, there's no reason for them to be sitting. They're like sitting ducks here, because if they wipe, it's going to be even worse for them here.
Yeah, absolutely. Florida Boy Dustin right now going to be trying to hold this, and you know, since this is neutralized, this is just looking really good for them. I mean, he could really just kind of hold off, run around in circles, and just make sure that this point stays this way, and try to focus some damage down onto this Guardian, focus some cooldowns out, and let the rotations come later. The medium damage going out right now, so that's the rotations that we're talking about. They're going to be moving that one right on over, and they're going to be plussing that one out. Mayhem going to be able to go in there as well to try to provide some damage and maybe take down Dustin before the rest of his team is actually able to get over there. But Nos is going to be able to make it just in time, get over to this point actually where blue team almost had the full cap, but now Dustin going to be able to rotate back along with Shade. So both NGs now in the picture here. This
is a 3v3 that really seems to be, I mean, no one really having the clear advantage, but if Mayhem gets focused down here, he has nothing left. Absolutely nothing left. The only support he's going to be getting is from Smexy Cat Punch. The Guardian is in the area, but he doesn't have any support from Mayhem's going to be taken down in a matter of seconds here. Defy Pain popping for him, but Nos isn't looking so healthy either. Neither is Shade. They're both under a whole lot of pressure. Nos actually, the 100 Blades combo coming out there from Mayhem is going to take him down, and the stomp from Smexy Cat Punch. It looked like it didn't land because Florida Boy Dustin threw down the stealth onto Nos. That was a pretty huge play coming out there for Florida Boy Dustin, and the stomp from Chait going to solidify the kill. That was a really nice stealth, saving Nos from dying there.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's basically what's going to solidify this fight here, as Smexy Cat Punch does follow suit there going into downstate, so he's going to be coming off a respawn here. We already have Mayhem actually coming off here, so that's going to turn into a 2v1 onto Thanarim, so he's going to have to sustain potentially versus Mayhem as well as medium damage, which, you know, it is going to be a lot to sustain against, with Mayhem just already dropping so much pressure now onto Thanarim, and Thanarim about to go down, does go down already. Ready-made able to provide some CC to help that one out as well, and it looks like we're going to be seeing Florida Boy Dustin maybe try to make a move to help him, but it's just a little bit too late there, as they're going to be basically forced to pull right on back over towards that keep node. Dustin maybe making a stealth play to go for a little bit of some decap action, but Ready-Made's going to see that one coming.
Yeah, and now Nos is seemingly the center of attention here for Radioactive, trying to pick him up. Wakey's at the midpoint against the Guardian, who's doing a nice job of LOSing that rapid fire spam. Gonna get some help from Chait, who's coming into this point as well. And it looks like still forcing a 1v1. That would be Florida Boy Dustin over at the Henge, but seemingly it's such a big lead. Almost a 300-point lead for the Abjured right now. They have absolutely nothing to worry about whatsoever. Just play the rest of this game and go on to their best map on Legacy of the Foefire. Radioactive, they need to be thinking already what they're going to do on that map, because this one doesn't seem to be working out for them.
Yeah, I don't think that they... this is looking like it's pretty much going to be exactly what we're going to see in the next map, actually. Nos right now able to peel off successfully here, and he's going to be able to get out of combat and heal right on up, I have to expect. No one really in the area. We're going to be seeing actually a decap probably happen here from the Ranger here from Radioactive. Going to be making a move over towards the mine, where he's going to be met by both Dustin and Nos there. Going to cut him off, but blue team still winning that point there, taking out both elementalists there from the Abjured, so they're going to be able to get this two-cap actually already here. This is a good shift of momentum for them to be going into the next map with, or potentially even hold this map and make a little bit of a comeback here.
Yeah, they're doing a nice job. They just need to keep it up, make sure Ready-Made doesn't get spiked down there. We had another rampage from Florida Boy Dustin. I haven't seen personally a tornado this game yet. From maybe they did it off point, but all on stream things have been rampages from these guys once again, getting that luck in their favor. Crisis, so look at the Condi sticking on him. He is going to be spiked down there by Wake. He was going in for that stab stomp, should be able to pick up the kill, and there he does it as they look to solidify the mine point and take this game with only about 90 points to go.
Yeah, we are going to be seeing Dustin get that decap there, and he's going to be able to probably get the full cap. Actually, it looks like Guardian's going to be trying to make a play here, and if we're going to be seeing Abjured not able to hold this one out, as Nos is taken so low here, doesn't have too many cooldowns left, and he's burning away right now, does have the plagues in it, could get rid of those, but decides not to. Medium damage going to be taken down though, so he's going to be safe here probably, unless Reanimate can take him out, and I don't see that happening. As we do see the rampage coming out
another
from
rampage. Oh dear. Another rampage there from Chait, and there's a 2-cap for the Abjured. And you know, you said maybe somewhat of a mini comeback. I don't think they would have taken the game, and they started to get a little bit more points. 175 right now, might end up with over 200 at the end of this game. Nos actually down over here at the mine point still. Mayhem should be able to clean him up. If they do get that kill, that's going to res Reanimate if I'm not mistaken. And I believe Reanimate's back into this one once again. But Mayhem needs to be very careful of what he does here. Otherwise, he's going to be taken out. Nice support coming out from the rest of the team. But so much damage coming out there from another rampage. I believe that came out there from one of the Abjured members.
Yeah, Wakey is probably going to be dropping here. We'll have to see what happens after this Vapor Form wears off. It looks like that is going to be the death of him, as Dustin might actually follow as well. He's now at about 10% HP, forced off into the little waterfall on the side here. Guardian going to be following him up a little bit here. Might be able to take him out. Nos is back on the point, though, so he's right back in it, and he's going to be able to hold this stalemated for a little bit longer. As long as they can hold on to this point that Phantom is just basically... camping a little bit here as Mayhem actually, I don't know.
What is the Guardian doing? I'm not so sure why he didn't stomp Toker. I have no idea why he didn't stomp Toker. He had that one. I don't know if he stopped because he was about to get pulled and then didn't re-stomp or something, but I'm not so sure what happened there. Despite that, at the midpoint, Phantom was actually taken down if I'm not mistaken, and if they get that kill, they might be able to get the decap. Wakey's still in the area, so, I mean, 15 points away, plus that kill coming out there onto the Guardian, I think that is going to be game in favor of the Abjured.
We do see the decap actually pulled off, and Wakey probably going to be falling here right next to his teammate Phantom here, and this is the second time probably that we're going to be seeing the Dagger Elementalist dropping on this keep point to Mayhem as well as Ready-Made, and the pressure is just too strong. The CC from both of these guys is just absolutely insurmountable there, and it proves to be such as we are going to be seeing this go back over towards the blue side. But it's any point. I mean, any point at this point will take it. They could go for Spawnier, they could go for Chieftain, they could take a kill, they could get a point back. Game. It's anything. Anything goes right here. As Mixie Cat Punch does drop, that is going to be the one.
Yeah, it lasted a little bit longer than anticipated. 500 to 261. I didn't expect 261 especially after the opening, split of this game where Radioactive just got pummeled at the start of the game. A very aggressive opener coming out from the Abjured at the start of this one, forcing Crisis, forcing everybody back to their home node, and even winning most of that fight and all around the map. I believe they had like a 2-cap there and still they had about a 100-point lead before Radioactive actually did anything. They can't afford to do that if they want any chance whatsoever against the Abjured.
Yeah, they need to be making those plays that they made in the latter half of that game pretty much at the start. I mean, they really need to have that going, because if they let, especially on this map, which, once again, I mean, I feel like we say this every week, this is Abjurd's map, and if you let them carry the momentum already into the first couple minutes, you're already giving them up the victory. You're giving it to them straight up on a silver platter, and if you're not able to get something going off of the opening splits, you're gonna be ruined for the rest of the game.
Yeah, you really are, and especially, I mean, the one match we saw Radioactive take off the Abjured a few weeks ago was on Force of Niflhel. If they have any chance of taking a game off them, it's going to be Force of Niflhel. Legacy of the Full Fire, I don't remember the last time we've seen a game that's really close against the Abjured on this map for NA battles. So, very, very doubtful. But taking a look at its swap, Ready-Made for the first time and forever, is changing over to a Zerker Staff Elite. Well, not necessarily Zerker. He is running the Marauder Amulet with the Rune of the Ogre, taking Fire, Water, and Arcane. I have not seen him play something like this in a long time.
You heard it right, boys. That is Marauder Amulet. Staff Ellies everywhere are rejoicing. If this pans out for them, you're going to be seeing a lot more staff LAs out here for sure. I mean, this could be potentially huge, but I'm not sure about this play. I mean, if this was against the Thief, if Toger was playing Thief, then obviously this would be a complete miscall. He would be absolutely obliterated every single time. But you know, going into this could go either way. This really could. I mean, he could definitely be the difference, and I think if they're not aware of it, which you have to assume that they are. And I'm very curious by this because medium damage, I would expect to see him on this blue team already forcing the ready up so that the Abjured team can't see this coming. They do not want him to be found out. I mean, I would have waited to the last minute to be making this adjustment so that I could go and basically be ready. I mean, for this game without them ever even knowing. I mean, you need to have that kind of awareness going into this. But despite that, still taking a little bit of time to ready up, and I expect Abjured to know this going into it.
Yeah, that's an interesting build coming out from Ready Made. I do have an update, though, I want to point out on the third place match, which was Team Faded up against Spoookie. Both teams we saw today. Team Faded beating Spoookie in game number 1, 503 to 415, going on to a Legacy of the Full Fire. I cannot say I expected that. I thought Spoookie I thought they would have had that game in the bag, but dropping game number 1, we'll have hopefully updates on the rest of that series later on in this cast. But ultimately, that's a huge victory for Team Faded if they want a 3 seed next week. Yeah,
absolutely, and that's a team that has come up and been playing pretty well, and I expect to see them in contention with the likes of Team Spoookie and Radioactive, pretty consistently. So I'm definitely excited to see what they're doing in the coming days, coming weeks.
Ready Made actually swap into the Sully, I believe he ran that Marauder's Amulet last game, if I'm not mistaken, in the last match. But we had already went over his build, and a lot of the time, sometimes players do like to actually change builds, and we don't go back over them because there's really no time to. So if I'm not mistaken, he ran the Marauders last game, but is switching to the Sully this game. Still ended up
it looks like that is going to be the case. So,
I mean, that's kind of the issue you run into sometimes when going over the builds before the game starts. I mean, you don't want to have to go back through them all over again. It's rather unfortunate for the most part, but we do sometimes miss things like that because of the fact that players will switch it up last minute. And that's what you're saying about maybe switch it up at the last minute. That's what he did last time, and nobody noticed because we didn't actually go over the builds after the game started. So, anyhow, it obviously didn't work out for him that game, but going back to the Sully now, I think he still did rather well that game. That's pretty, I don't know, 250 points almost with the almost Circus Staff Ellie. I mean, going to Sully now, do you think they have a reasonable chance on this map?
I definitely think that they have a shot. I mean, as a team, you always have a shot, and at the very least, that's what you got. And I think that does hold true for this Radioactive team. They have come close time and time again. Soon. I mean, there's always an opportunity for them to do this and pull it together and take this win. And when you have something kind of off the wall like a Ranger on a map like this, there's always that opportunity to kind of catch teams off guard. So you never know. You could always see this Radioactive team take this one, but Abjured is still such a strong team.
Yeah, opening splits for both teams again. We're gonna have 5 members of Radioactive go out of that main gate. Jayth going to the home node, and little does the Abjured know, sending 3 members to the waterfall. Uh-oh, that's not a good rotate. That's not a good opening split, but they're going to send a couple of them back, knowing that there was no one over there, so adjusting to it rather quickly, I must say.
Yeah, that's something where you kind of expect Abjured to be able to know the splits. I mean, they run this every single time. That's all about watching tape and understanding your opponent. That's all that's about right there.
But a tornado for Jayth! What? First time we've seen that in a while.
But still, I mean, Ready Made was taken out here. Nas going to be going for that stomp, and that's definitely going to be solidified as Mayhem actually does go into that rampage there on the Plague, which is definitely not ideal for him. So still, I mean, Nas taking so much pressure, medium damage, trying to put some damage down onto it as well, and Nas still taking so much heat, is able to save himself at the last second. He has 900 health outside of this Life Force pool here from Deathshroud. Phantom now trying to get some heals onto him once
but
this
he
fades
him off. Did he? He's immobbed. Oh, he done
Yeah,
off,
and
so
he has
that's
Sigmund
good for
and Locust
Nos.
as well, so he could potentially get back into melee range and provide some corruption and maybe even take a kill off of this as well. It looks like he might do that right here. And that is going to be Corrupt Boon onto the Guardian. The second Corrupt there as well onto the Guardian. That's going to solidify the kill as well. 2 kills picked up by such a good play from Nos, holding on to those Corruption, knowing that he was going to get that kill on Mayhem and turn that Guardian down instantly.
Yeah, that was a big play coming out there for Nos and company, and the Rampage from Christ is not going to be able to accomplish anything with it. Ready made able to get the cap at the waterfall. Vanderham not going to be able to take him out anytime soon. He should just leave that, and that's exactly what he's going to do. And now the Guardian needs to be very careful. He has to get out of here alive, otherwise they're going to be so staggered. We just need a big regroup here for Radioactive.
Yeah, absolutely, and this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where if you let it happen at the early stages of the game, where you had the advantage. I mean, they had the 4FR, they knew their split. Ready Made was just kind of caught and extended a little bit too far over towards that waterfall. If he would have went back over towards that safety net of his 4 teammates, he would have been in a lot better position right now. I mean, but this is kind of how they play. Ready Made kind of playing very far away from the team to try to pull away a lot of members, maybe get a 1v2 going so that they can take that and turn it into a 4v3. But, you know, Abjured just so good at eliminating Ready Made and corrupting him down, taking him out quickly, maybe even just leaving Phantom on there to do that 1v2 as they just did, moving the fight elsewhere.
Yeah,
and
over
saying,
here at the
What?
quarry.
He'll take the 2 cap.
Over here at the quarry, Toker's under a little bit of pressure from the Guardian, using that terrain to his advantage. Doesn't know where he's at. There was a little bit of damage onto Wakey as well. Man, Toker needs to be very careful. There's the tornado once again from Chafe. Man, let's not be angry enough since he told us that's a special key for it. But regardless, Toker's still running for his life, able to stay alive. He gets the rampage for himself, and now Mayhem, pressure turned back onto him, and he's so low right here. He needs to be very careful. He's actually taken into the downstate. Will Toker be taken on as well? Looks like he's able to manage to stay alive, but despite that, the Abjured continuing to build their lead.
Yeah, and I suspect that Tesla's going to be dropping very shortly, as well as Chaith and Dustin are supporting one another and trying to get some damage down. And Mayhem coming out with the vengeance, try to take Dustin into the downstate, maybe even get a kill off of it, but that is not going to happen as Chaith just eliminates him there. Medium damage still here, falling apart on the point here as Tesla actually getting chased around quite a lot. Chaith going to be following that one up. They're going to be moving back over toward the graveyard right now, where Ready Made is waiting in between that and the waterfall. Looks like he's going to be doubling back over towards the waterfall, and probably met by Phantom, who's going to be pushing that point and trying to provide some damage, while Nos follows it up in the back end as well. So they're going to 2v1 him and probably take him out pretty quick.
Yeah, that should be an easy pickup, especially with that Corrupt Boon for Nos. I mean, that should be a really easy pickup onto Ready Made shortly enough. Look at the Condi sticking onto Ready Made. Once he's out of those cantrips and that heal, he's done for, and there's not a whole lot he's going to be able to... Look at it! Oh, man! Ready Made not going to be able to stay alive for too much longer, but taking a look at the other side of the map... Actually, no, we're not moving anywhere, because the medium damage might come in for the res. Is he able to get it? That would be a huge pickup for them if they're able to get this res.
Yeah, they're definitely going to manage to get this one. They pick him right back up, and the Guardian right here, this Ranger, is now at a 30% HP, forcing himself off the node to get some heals. Boy Dustin still so low, as well as Wakey here. He's potentially going to drop if this Ranger can put some damage down. Mayhem in the downstate, though. And they're going to solidify that kill and turn on him. 3v1. It doesn't matter what their health bars are. They're winning that fight every single time.
Yeah, and that Rampage from Chaith going to help solidify that fight for themselves. And we're going to see another 2-cap for the Abjured this game, who are in such a dominant position right now. They don't have anything to be worried about. The Guardian needs to be very careful of what his next move is here, because he's in a very bad spot right now. He's on the other side of the map. The rest of his team are regrouping at the waterfall. He's got to get over there. It looks like Chaith is going to leave him alone to do just that. Mayhem coming off a respawn, though, not exactly sure what he's hoping to accomplish by himself over at the quarry. Have to see what his next move is going to be, but they need this damage over at the waterfall, because Radioactive will never win the fight at the waterfall without either of those guys.
Yeah, and this is all about just shutting down the members of Radioactive that are bunkering. And you look at the scoreboard here, if you pull it up, it's just the people that they're shutting down they're just leaving all the people who are tanky. I mean, medium damage and Ready Made are the only people with points, and that's because they're basically just leaving them. They don't need to fight that. They can take points off of Mayhem, the Guardian and Tesla every single time and put them down to 0 points where they're not accomplishing anything, and then move over and just 4v1 ready-made and medium damage, and it happens every single time. We saw it just now, ready-made being dropped, and they're going to be taking Waterfall because of it. Phantom Ram is going to be sticking around, and now they're going to take even more 3v1s, 2v1s on Tesla, who's now accepting all of that pressure.
Oh, but
now
Wakey! Wakey actually taking down. Who's got the stop first? I think, oh man, the Vapor Form coming out there for Wakey, going to keep him alive, allowing the stomp for 5-gauge to come out onto Mayhem. If you didn't have that Vapor Form, I think Guardian would have had that stomp before Chaith, but unfortunately, that is what Elementalists have, so that was very unfortunate for him. And that kill going to probably solidify the quarry node for them in a matter of minutes here. Or minutes, I want to say, because of the Guardian. And it feels like Radioactive really like to funnel into this point. Not giving it up, not having it in their favor, but losing elsewhere, it's really hurting them.
Yeah, for sure. Tesla was taken pretty low there, but was able to survive nonetheless. Looks like he's going to be forcing himself over. Maybe like try to make a little bit of an elusive play here, maybe try to turn on Nos, who's now at about 50% HP, but he's going to get some heals. So looking over, though, at the quarry, once again, we're going to be seeing medium damage taken down, despite Mayhem actually in Rampage here, trying to put some damage down onto Florida Boy Dustin. Looks like he actually got mowed there, now at about 10% HP, so he's going to be dropping very shortly as well as soon as this Endure Pain wears off from that trait there, and he's going to be dropping still ever so slowly. Wakey going to finish that one off there.
Yeah, that's
and they're going to get the quarry back.
Yeah, they're going to have a 3 cap here in a matter of seconds after they get that cap, because there's nothing Radioactive can do at the midpoint. Tesla trying to use the terrain to get out of this one. 5-gauge knows where he's at, but despite that, Ready-Made is under so much pressure at the midpoint now. He's probably not going to be able to channel his, actually was able to channel his heal there with Rock Solid, if I'm not mistaken, able to give him stab, so he should be okay for the time being. But despite that, this is probably this is going to be the Abjured's game, working their way up to that 400-point lead in just a matter of seconds here.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if Tesla actually swapped this like in the middle of the round.
I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah, and I'm not sure about this change either. He swapped to the Condi pressure. I mean, they were able to take out Nasa. I mean, what I was about to say probably would have sounded dumb, but swapping to that heavy Condi pressure with the pistol there against a Necro, not really sure about that play. Not really sure about that play at all.
Yeah, I think he did swap mid-match. I'm not sure if that's allowed, but despite that, didn't really do a whole lot for them. Oh, he didn't? Oh.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, maybe I was looking at medium damage for the most part. Despite that, really didn't do a whole lot for them. I mean, Radioactive able to get to 100 points. But even so, the Abjured totally dominant as usual on this map. Really don't expect much else.
Yeah, it looks like this is going to be finished up rather quickly. Mayhem forced off point in the downstate. They're going to bleed him out for sure. Tesla now trying to get some damage down onto Florida Boy Dustin. He's going to be able to get some heals off though. Tesla looking for an opportunity here. Looks like he's going to be forcing so much Condi pressure now onto Dustin. Dustin doesn't have too many elixirs left. He's going to be able to focus some of them off himself here. It looks like Nos accidentally plagued, or maybe
accidental
just stunting like my daddy right now. And on the midpoint, Dustin going for that as well.
Uh-oh. All right, well that is going to be it. The Abjured crowned your weekly number 47 victors quite easily in that last match, I must say. What are your thoughts on that one?
Man, I mean, I probably was expecting a little bit something closer. Not really sure about the Angie swap from Tesla there. I don't really think that was probably the best call. I think they're having a lot of time, or a little bit of struggle adjusting from the fact that they had that same composition for so long that they were getting very comfortable with that double warrior, that double guardian, that elementalist, and having to find someone to fill that role with Olrun taking a leave of absence there to pick up with a new team. They're not really doing the same things as they were before, and having a little bit of trouble getting back to that state.
Yeah, definitely so. And I mean, Radioactive have to be happy with getting back into the finals this week, beating Spoookie pretty significantly, doing a good job in that semifinal matchup. They have to feel pretty comfortable about that victory at that. Not exactly sure what they expected for this week with a new sub, and I'm not sure if their sub, that would be the Guardian, is going to be a permanent member of the roster. So we'll have to see how that works out in the coming weeks, and especially in the monthly, a month down the road from now. So we'll have to see how that works out. Any last thoughts on this, as the Abjured, of course, taking home the first place prize of $400 and $100 going to Radioactive at second place. Pretty good games all around, I must say, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's nice to see kind of like this differentiating. It's a little bit staggered. It seems actually going into every single week where we see Spoookie take it one week, Radioactive take it second the next week. We're seeing Faded doing so well against both of these teams actually. So it's interesting to see kind of this second, third, and fourth play come about, and I'm really kind of looking forward to seeing. These teams actually compete so well that they're able to actually maybe even take some first place slots against the Abjured. I mean, you never know;
Yeah.
it might actually happen. But I do want to say that we did have a giveaway during the monthly, and after this, I am going to go ahead and pull that both Storm and I from our Twitter account. So this is your last opportunity, guys, to follow us on Twitter, and go ahead and follow us and retweet that latest tweet that is going to be about.
The ESL
The
monthly.
giveaways,
Yeah.
and that is from the ESL
It
Monthly
is the
exactly.
ESL
So
monthly one. So
go ahead and do that. And also, you want to follow us because not only do we have that giveaway about to end in just a couple of moments here, but we also have more coming in just a couple of days. So definitely want to follow us for sure, as
Yeah.
we're going to have more gym code giveaways as well.
I do have an update on that third place match. Team Faded beating Team Spoookie 2-0, taking them out 518 with a Lord Rush to 271 on Legacy of the Foe Fire. So congrats to Team Faded getting third place. I didn't say I expected that for the third match, but congrats to them on that victory. A few announcements, as always, guys. If you are interested in playing in the ESL Cups, you can head over to play.eslgaming.com/GuildWars2. You can also find ESL on Facebook at facebook.com/ESLGW2 and on Twitter at ESLGW2. And for those giveaways, of course, you need to know our Twitters. That would be at Game with Storm right down there and at CT Heurix for Heurix himself. Go ahead and follow us for those giveaways, guys. Of course, we have more of those in the future. Again, congrats to all the teams and you for all joining us. Any last thoughts from you, Heurix?
That's pretty much it, man. Make sure you guys follow us. We have a bunch of stuff coming your way in the next couple of days. We're really excited about the future with you guys, and Heart of Thorns is just around the corner, man.
Yeah, definitely so. Looking forward to it. Again, thank you all for joining us today. We'll be back next Sunday with the weekly number 48. Have a good day, and thanks again for watching.